Hello everyone, welcome to Forever Rugby and some incredible breaking news as the big transfers across the United Rugby Championship continues. Vermelen has officially departed from the Bulls and will be joining Ulster after the end of year November tests ahead of the rest of the United Rugby Championship season. So we have seen the last of pretty much Vermelen playing for a South African side, which is a pretty incredible news. And on the back of lose a couple of players and the Bulls sort of bringing so many big players. This is a massive player to lose, but probably in one of the sort of positions and the loose trio that they could probably afford to lose. And one sort of wonders with Albert Lowe switching to the number 8 that it also starts to make sense at the moment. You know, there's a lot of sort of not confusion, but it was quite interesting to sort of see how Jake White was switching around his loose forwards in and around the Currie Cup in terms of, you know, who is going to, who was playing where, stuff like that. And there's sort of a lot of questions in terms of Albert Lowe suddenly becoming, playing an 8th man in the absence of Vermeulen ahead of Marcel Coetzee. But in hindsight, looks like a complete masterclass of a decision, given that Vermeulen has indeed played his last game for the men in Pretoria. So speaking on the move, which will keep him at Ulster until 2023 and see the World Cup winner move to Ireland. The statement that reads, the 35-year-old brings with him experience gained in both Super Rugby and the top 14 and will join the United Rugby Championship in November once he has completed international duties during the autumn tests. Head coach Dan McFarlane added that Dwayne is clearly a world-class player who, as the current world champion, starting 8 and MVP from the last Rugby World Cup final, is set to bring depth and experience to our really talented group of back rowers. As well as being an undeniable talent on the pitch, I know Dwayne will be an important role going forward in strengthening the winning mindset we are building as a squad. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognise Brendan Cunningham's brilliant work in orchestrating this deal from start to finish. It was always going to be a difficult ask to find a difference-making 8, but Brendan has definitely achieved that. In terms of Dwayne Vermeulen, what he said about the move, he said that it appealed and resonated with me to a point where I got very excited and decided to commit myself to this Ulster journey. I cannot wait to become part of the Ulster family and to serve as best I can. I mean, they lost Marcel Coetzee to the Bulls this year and have gained Dwayne Vermeulen back by the end of the year. So it's some tremendous work from Ulster to be able to orchestrate such a deal and be able to add the quality that is Dwayne Vermeulen to their squad. The only thing I sort of wonder is in terms of a Springbok career, I suppose it's a really good thing that if he has gone overseas, that he will be playing in the United Rugby Championship, where we will be seeing him week in, week out. Because had he gone to maybe the Premiership or a top 14, whilst we still are selecting a lot of players from there, it becomes a little bit more difficult to monitor exactly how he's doing. Obviously, the coaches can monitor it, but in terms of South African public being able to sort of watch these games and stuff like that, it is a bit more difficult. But at the very least, from a South African public's point of view, we won't be able to watch him play for the Bulls, but at least we'll be able to still watch him throughout the rest of the season. And then enough in terms of the Bulls, it looks like Albert Lowe is going to now be the long-term number 8, which is massive for the development. You think of a loose trio of Marcel Coetzee, Arno Botha, and Albert Lowe, plus the youngsters that are coming through at the Bulls. They won't necessarily miss Dwayne Vermeulen as much as they would have a year ago. Let's put it that way. Obviously, any team is worse off for not having a Dwayne Vermeulen in their side. But, in terms of a development point of view, and I don't really buy into the whole rhetoric of buying experienced players ruins the development. But it does mean that Albert Lowe, who someone was being touted as being a potential Springbok call-up as soon as the end of their tour, he will now have the entire United Rugby Championship, playing at 8th man, being able to establish himself there. And that is obviously the position where Jake White sees his long-term future, having shifted Marcel Coetzee back to the flank. Arno Botha has always operated sort of a number 7, so it kind of makes sense. But it's a big loss to the Bulls regardless, in terms of the leadership, in terms of the pedigree that Vermeulen brings. They weren't going to have him for a couple of first rounds anyway, but Bulls fans would have been very excited to have had him back at the end of after November, but that actually won't happen. So, it was a bit of a short stint, and probably maybe a stint that we didn't really get to see the maximum out of Dwayne Vermeulen because, Super Rugby having been cut short. This was the competition we were going to be able to sort of see his sort of swan song playing in front of South African crowds. And we won't be able to see him at Loftus week in, week out. So we'll have to rely on, I think they've got 2 trips to South Africa to Ulster next in the United Rugby Championship. Hopefully we'll have fans because, the longer it goes, the fewer occasions we actually have to be able to go and watch Dwayne Vermeulen play for rugby live. And we're talking about one of the best players, that South Africa has produced. of all times, despite not having maybe all the amount of tests. In terms of the impact he had when he has played, he has been a phenomenal player and a phenomenal servant to South African rugby. But you can see sort of clearly planning for his future, taking the Euros, going up overseas, spending another 2 years at Ireland, and it wouldn't surprise me if he then settles into a coaching role within Ireland. I mean, it's probably one of those situations where I don't think we really see him coming back to South Africa, given the fact that he has now come back to South Africa, spent a couple of years now, but has been quite quick to go back there. So there's obviously financial decisions always going to be the biggest aspect of it, with the Ireland teams having a bigger salary budget than South Africa. What will be interesting to see is if the Bulls now look to replace him. Have they really replaced him? In bringing back Nizam Khan, Marcel Coetzee, Arno Buerta, they've brought in so many. Albert Lowe itself was a new signing. They have brought in so many loose forwards, but that has never stopped Jake White. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bulls will do, whether they've been planning for this, or is this now going to be a case of they will look at bringing somebody in, or will they back their youngsters? Either are pretty much as likely as the next. But let me know what you think of the move down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.